What's going on, gentlemen? Back again with another video. So, I'm sure you've all seen Charlie Kirk was assassinated, right? And this is something that, I'm a Southerner up in New York right now, right? I made my video about fighting Coomers, and I said that, I want to fight a Yankee. One guy commented and was like, leave my people alone, right? He took it on the chin. It was funny, right? But I had one guy comment on one of my videos where I talked about my hometown and what was going on in my hometown. And he said it's something along the lines like, it seems like the America First types never tell the truth. They're not telling the full truth. Well, brother, Charlie Kirk wasn't America First, right? Charlie Kirk was very mild with his opinions in a lot of ways, and he was assassinated for it. They've already tried to kill Andrew Tate. They've tried to kill Trump. They've tried to kill Nick Fuentes, right? So, what do you want? You don't want the truth? You don't want us to lie. You want us dead, right? That's the whole point. So you have to think about where this stuff started, right? And a lot of this, in my opinion, has started with the feminization of our society as a whole. These men that are doing these things, they're not in control of their own minds on a base fundamental level, right? My last video, I talked about practicing mind control on yourself and different ways you can do that. Now, I titled it kind of funny, but the point is to be in control of your own thinking. And these guys that are doing these things, it's very obvious that they don't control their own thinking. They let the media think for them, and they let the popular media think for them, right? The media that's in control of everything that we all should know they're liars, right? I thought that it was like kind of common sense. Like, I've known since I was 18 that these people were liars, that the media was just bullshit, right? You could just watch the news and listen to people talk about politics, and you knew damn well that the media was just lying and riling people up. But these people, that doesn't happen. They believe this stuff. They think it's true. And so, on the left, what are they constantly doing? Right? They're constantly calling names. For years and years and years, they've just been calling people on the right names while they continue to move further left. Right? They move further left and they call everyone names, and the names have become increasingly more damning. The names have become increasingly more damning to, like, your character, right? And just how bad you are. And so now we're at the point of it's fascist and Nazi, right? Bigot's over, homophobes over, misogynist is over. Now it's just fascist and Nazi, right? So those words, when you hear those words, it triggers a unsafe part of people's brains. They suddenly feel unsafe. And that's the whole point of what they're trying to do, the media, when they push this stuff and they push these words and they get these people saying these words on this train and calling someone such as myself one of these words, right? Fascist and a Nazi. It's to instill fear in the people that are consuming the content, right? They've been doing it for ages. They would call a guy like me a misogynist, instill fear in females. Call a guy like me a bigot, whatever. I still don't even know. I think a bigot is just like ignorant or something. I don't even know what that fucking means. Right? These were all new words. These were all new words fucking 10 years ago. Who the fuck knew these words? I guarantee if you look at the Google trends, they've gone up over the last 10, 20 years. Insane amounts. Especially the last 10 years. They'd call someone like me a racist to instill fear into black people, into Hispanics, into Asians, into anyone, right? But truthfully, in this society, the people who have been attacked the most are people like myself, right? Straight white males. We have been attacked for the last 10 years at every angle for who we like, for who we're sexually attracted to, for what we look like, our skin color, and for what's between our legs that we have no control over, right? We have no control over these things. They're biologically written into us. And we have been attacked and attacked and attacked, right? I've watched it happen. I'm 29. And I've watched all this stuff evolve and unfold. Luckily, I'm the age that I am, that I got out of high school. Everything was normal. We used to tell girls in high school all the time to get back in the kitchen. When they would be talking, we would just be like, get back in the kitchen. Like, just stop talking and get back in the kitchen. We used to have girls that we would joke around with, me and my friends, and we would go like this, like we were going to backhand them. And the girls would be like, no, please don't. Right? And we would never hit them. But it was a funny joke. And now, you can't even joke like that, right? Like, people they would lose it if you did that. So, the point of them doing all of this is to instill fear in other people, right? And as soon, y'all know where this is, some of y'all might know where this is going, but as soon as you instill fear into people, they go into fight or flight, right? And this is what the Bible says is Satan's biggest trick, right? Is lies, and he likes to put people in fear. If you can put people in fear, you can control them, right? I'm in a sales job right now. When I was in sales, selling cars, and even right now, they talk about fear of loss. Put people into fear of loss. Make them fear that they're going to lose it. The iPhone 17 pre-orders just came in today. What do you think I was doing all day today? Oh, you have to get it now. They're already on back order. You have to get it, and they really are. They really are. Some of them are already on back order for the certain colors, right? And I just drilled that into people. I had a woman that wanted the orange one, and I said, hey, you're going to have to wait a month, 30 days to get that phone. If you go with the blue, you'll get it next Friday. She went with the blue, right? So that fear, people that don't think for themselves get controlled. They don't control their own minds. And of course, it's always, most of the time, it's going to be men that act out this violence, right? We've seen the transgenders do what they do, and what are they being injected with? Testosterone. And so they start acting out in violence, right? So the base level of this started with the feminization of society, right? When they started getting women out of the home, when they started letting women vote, giving them these opinions, now they're in the workplace. They started slowly but surely, issues just kept popping up. But this shit started 100 fucking years ago in this country. These feminism movements. They weren't big, but that shit started a long time ago. And they pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And now we're at the point where, of course, we all know relationships are just kind of fucked, right? Marriage, like, all this stuff is collapsing. The nuclear family, this stuff is falling apart. It's fallen apart, right? It's already kind of there. The girls are all kind of washed up hoes, right? We don't really want to fuck with them. They're rude. They're disrespectful. They don't know how to cook. They don't even know how to act like women, right? They lack that feminine grace. They're very masculine in their presentation and their demeanor, their tone of voice, all kinds of things, right? So they started out with over feminizing society to create chaos, because men will establish order everywhere they go to, and women will seed chaos everywhere they go. Think about the girls you've dated, the relationships you've been in, and what those have been like. So now more than ever, we come down to a time where, sorry, self-revealed, but you can't be like this guy. Talking about a sex addict. You can't afford to be like this guy. Things are insane. You can't afford to constantly be worried about having endless sex with your wife, right? That's not the point. Your personal pleasure and making sure that your pee-pee feels good and you transmute the energy up your spine so you can have a full body orgasm like a woman, just like a woman does. Can we do that when times are okay? Because I know things are even worse in Australia than they are in America. But can we do that when everything's settled, when everything's okay? When everything's like good to be taken care of? Until then, can we like focus on what really matters and talk about what really matters? And that all of this started with feminism. I made my video on the history of feminism, back to its roots and how it's tied to Satanism. Right? The fear. They put the women in fear. You're not allowed to have a voice. You're controlled by your husband. You're not allowed to vote. You're controlled by your government. Smash the patriarchy. Blah, blah, blah. Nonsense, nonsense. And so, of course, when they got the women out of the house and got them into the workplace and started giving them the right to vote and stuff, men started jumping on board because they want to have sex with the girls. That's all it is, right? And this is why you never trust the nice guy. Women know that you don't trust the nice guy. But as a man, you never trust the nice guy because a shoulder to cry on becomes a dick to ride on, right? I knew a guy that was like this. I really didn't, we were friends at first. I was being kind to him with my friendship. And I took him in this winter. And he was a fag, My mom bought him socks and underwear for Christmas. And my father specifically went to him and said, make sure you give her a hug and say thank you. And my father said it twice to him, right? And my father is 87 now, so he's a very patient man. In the past, there was no being told twice something like that. You did it the first time, or if he told you the second time, he was going to tell you with his hand. Right? But my father told this guy twice, and he never did. He never hugged my mother, and he never told her thank you on Christmas Day. And she bought him socks and underwear, took him into the house, cooked him breakfast, cooked him dinner, did his laundry, folded his dirty socks and his shit-stained underwear, and he couldn't hug my mother and tell her thank you. At that day, that Christmas Day, I lost all respect for him. It was over. It was over. I had zero respect for him. Because I didn't say anything. I just watched him to see if he was going to do it. Because at this point, you don't respect anyone in this house. You don't respect my mother. You don't respect my father. You don't respect me. And I would really like to beat your ass, right? And he was a Yankee, guys. He was from Ohio. He is a Yankee from Ohio. He used to talk to me about how the South is where he belonged and he really wanted to be a Southerner. Yeah, bro, I know. We got juice that you don't have, you fucking Yankee. It's because we say thank you, stupid. So, he's a nice guy, right? He's all passive. He acts like he's harmless and stuff like that. But the whole time, he's a dirty motherfucker that all he wants is to have sex with women. And I can tell. I knew when I was around him, like, dude, you play this nice guy shit. And it's just, if you were just given the opportunity, you would have sex with every girl on earth. Right? You play this Christian shit. Play this nice guy card. Just because you can't do it. Right? A complete pussy. Can't tell my mother thank you on Christmas for buying him socks and underwear. I knew my mom was going to do that. There's no way she's going to have someone in her house on Christmas morning and she's not getting them a gift. Even if it's a fucking murderer, she's going to do it. Right? My mom just can't help herself. Gift giving is her love language. For sure. Receiving gifts, giving gifts, she'd rather give them than receive them. But man, you should see her light up when you give her a gift. So this guy is just an example of where we're at in America, where there's a lot of men that are extremely weak, right? When I made my video on fighting recently, I concluded the video. I'm sure most of y'all didn't watch it all the way through. It was like 41 minutes long, but I concluded it was saying that if a man isn't willing to put his fist on the end of his sentences, if you're not willing to put a period on the end of your sentence with a fist, you don't mean what you say. And we have men running around all over the place, running their mouths because the police protect them. We have women running around because the police protect them. So I've also talked about a female that I worked with that disrespected me out in the beginning. It's been about a month now since that happened. Well, she was just fired today, right? Turns out she was a big time hoe. And she disrespected me because our second day in the office, she tried to give me her phone number. I was adding her to a group meet chat that I was in for work. And immediately, so fast, she was like, "Do you need my phone number?" She said it so fast, and I just didn't respond. I just kept looking at my phone, and I pulled up the QR code for the chat and gave her that and had her scan that, right? So she didn't like me after that, so she disrespected me a few days later. Now she's fired. Funny, isn't that? Isn't that real funny? But she had thrown herself at me, two other guys, and even the manager. And so she got fired today. She was starting rumors and acting like a hoe. Why are women even in the workplace? They're nothing but a problem. They're nothing but a problem. Even if you get a girl in here on her boss babe energy and she doesn't care about that shit, she's a problem, right? She's arrogant, domineering. She's just a problem. Why is she just not, let her be a problem at home? She'd be less of a problem if she was at home because she'd be more happy, right? But this is where we're at, and men have accepted it for so long, for too long they've accepted it. And we're at a point now where people are starting to wake up, so if you speak out against it, you end up dead. If you have a voice and you have influence, you end up dead for speaking out against it. So this is why when someone comments about the America First thing, brother, we're trying to save America. And if we speak too quickly, we die. Unfortunately, you can't look at the chessboard and see what it is. You think that we're supposed to just go all out because that would mean you would win because we would expose everything, right? I had someone else when I had a dream and I talked about my dream and he said that my inner conscious said that I was very discriminatory towards non-whites and I had a phobia, right? And it was a black guy that said it. Black people love to think that white people are terrified of them. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes, bro. Pump the brakes. That dream was about gluttony. not about race. The dream was a very diverse dream. There was a whole lot of different people in there. So this is where we're at in America, right? It was very sad to see that happen to Charlie, and people have laughed at him. People think it's funny. They're mocking him openly on the internet. This was a father that died in front of his children and his wife. Brutal, bloody death. And people are celebrating it. The time of condemning political violence is over, right? They're celebrating political violence. And the politicians, I saw like Kamala Harris tweeted about it and posted on X about it and said that, that she condemns it and stuff. And that's just a platitude, right? She's part of riling these people up. This last election came down to men against women. Well, we've seen what happened for the ladies, right? You're going to lose if you try to go to war against men in any way, shape, or form. Politically, verbally, whatever you do, you're going to lose. They won't step to the physical realm, right? Because that's just out of the question. But that's what happens, right? I worked with a butch lesbian black girl, and she got off at 4. I didn't get off until 7. And at 4:15, my phone's ringing and it's my manager. And I already knew. My manager is like, hey, she said this, and this about you. 3 different, just completely made up lies. She said I was on the phone with my girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend. She said that I didn't really pitch people. I wasn't really trying to sell anything. Well, then how am I putting up all these numbers every single day if I'm only pitching 2 or 3 people all day? That means I would have closed everyone I pitched, 100% of the people I pitched, to put up the numbers I put up. And she tried to say I was like trying to steal her deals and steal her money. She was new. I'm supposed to be training her. She didn't know what she was doing, so I would step in and help and start pitching these people with her because she doesn't know what she's doing. I'm not trying to steal it. You're not making any money. You have no money to steal, woman. Right? And she was talking to me about going to the bathroom and how some white lady was staring at her in the bathroom. And she's looking at me like the white lady's weird. And it's like, no, you're dressed like a man. And you act like a man. And this is an old white lady. Of course she's looking at you. Because you're very foreign to what she's ever seen before. And she's not very comfortable. Because you're projecting to everyone that you're sexually attracted to females. And you're in the bathroom. So it made her uncomfortable. Why are you trying to act like you're the normal one and she's the weird one? Am I supposed to live in that delusion? Absolutely not. You can call the manager. This is sales. I perform, I do my thing. I never said nothing to you. You lied on my name, right? So that's where we're at as a country. So you guys have to really think and consider that we're at war. Whether you want to be or not, there's a war going on. And you, if you don't fight in your daily life, if you're not working, if you're not training your body, training your mind, and making money, you're getting wrecked in the war. You're getting defeated in the war. And semen retention is a key. It's a secret key for men to take their power back. Right? I went on that run and I said no more wet dreams. I haven't had one since and I'm feeling good. It's been almost a week. That run was on Sunday when I said no more wet dreams. And I'm feeling real good. Getting my power back. Keeping it with me. And if you guys are watching these videos and you're out here consciously spilling your seed, you're getting wrecked. You're giving up your ability to fight on a base fundamental level of within yourself of who you are. the thing that gives you the power, the thing that gives you the strength. I saw Marshall made a video that if men stop busting nuts, the women will lose all their power. That's so true, right? Women have no power over me because they can't even affect me like sexually. Even if I find a woman attractive, I just look at her straight. Look at her straight in the face. Don't care. I don't care that you're pretty. There's so many pretty girls. I'm 29. How many pretty women do you think I've seen? I've probably seen 1 million women that I'm attracted to in my life. There's so many. Why am I going to lose my focus over one of them? That would be completely pointless. That would be asinine. Stupid. And guys are losing their wits. So, it's time for you guys to get it together. Things are not going to get better. They're going to continue to get worse until shit hits the fan. And you need to be ready. Because if you start getting ready when shit hits the fan, you're done. You're done for. It's too late. So get it together, gentlemen. Alright? Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Comment what you think. Have a good one.